Okay, just a quick ass video here. We took these out, and to be honest with you, it's dead weight. I don't think I'm gonna put them back on. I don't know, we'll see what happens. But anyways, we got one of our lights installed on this side so far. We drilled 2 more holes for the other 2. This is a flood beam right here. These 2 right here are gonna be spot beams. Flood beam, 2 spot beams. These holes are drilled absolutely perfectly. We took out the piece on this side too. It's over here. And these 6 lights, this is a 2 flood beams and 4 spot beams. And it'll equate to around 25,000 lumens, I believe. I'll have to do the research on it. I know my other truck had about 62,000 lumens, and this is about 40% of it. So I'm just guesstimating right around 20 to 25,000 lumens of light, which the normal dude would just love to have that and be satisfied. But we're going to be putting more lights on here as time goes on. I used up all my time today. But I can't believe this thing right here, right? And you have to set it up so you can put it back on, of course. Trust me, I know it goes in there. There you go. I made sure that you have to drill these bolts in deep enough so that you can slide it back in. Now, my intention was to put it back on, but I don't know if I'm going to. I mean, it actually... Number 1, it adds weight. 2, it allows air to come in here and cool your shocks, cool your brakes, whatever the case may be, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's a much bigger hole if you leave it off. So, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. But, you know what happened to the hydro guide system? It ended up over there in the corner. I do believe that I'm not going to put these back on. There's goddamn 8 bolts holding this thing on, and the dude had, or the Jeep, not the dude, they put on a little bit of thread lock on it, so they're very difficult to get off with, and yet they're on with a start wrench, a T45 start wrench, I believe that's what it is. And man, you have to be very careful so you don't strip the bolt, so you don't knock the paint off the top of the bolt, so when you put it back on you see all that shit. So, and I did that. I mean, a couple of the bolts I knocked a little bit of paint off, but I would put those on the bottom. If I do put this back on, which highly unlikely, I will not do that. But anyways, I ran out of time today, so we're in the process of putting these. We can leave that there. These things right here. I left enough space. There'll be about that much. They'll be staggered about like that. And you're gonna be very careful, you know. Number 1, you can probably put this one on and lock it off, but this one here, you're gonna have to get the height right because you won't be able to adjust these bolts anymore. But I do have these bolts just tight enough to where if I have to move this a little bit up or down, I can. If you grab it and you use some force, you can do that. The same thing with this way. So ultimately, when you're off-roading at night, you may want to adjust them ever so slightly, you know what I'm saying? But worked out well. Like I said, I'm not sure. You have to make sure that, I had to make sure that those were the flood beams, and these are the spot beams right here. So and this right here, we're just going to stick this over here, get it out of our way. But it's nice, you can see 2 of the lights are on, and they're not wired in yet or anything like that. But I did find the lead right here for the auxiliary switches in there, and I know how to program the auxiliary switches. We'll show you how to do all of that stuff. And these 6 lights will come on with a 40 amp fuse. You don't, I thought I had to run a fuse in the line, but I don't have to. The auxiliary switches are already fused. So it's going to be cool, man. It's going to be very easy. This was the hardest part right here, to do this drilling, getting these holes perfect, machined perfectly. Same spot on each side. Perfect, within tight specifications. Anyways, there'll be another light here, another light here. Lights, equally spaced. And if I take this off, skid plate, protection plate for your motor, for your to remove the pin for your stabilizer, not your sway bar. You can disconnect your sway bar from inside the cab. But yeah, there's not very many bolts holding this on. Very easy to take off. The thing is, when you take it off, you can stick a wrench in there with an extension, and you can tighten up these lights, so you can use the hardware from Rigid. I use this. You end up using the hardware for Rigid right here too, so there's no self-tappers. You know what I'm saying? You're using their hardware, which is much better. So I did take the time to take those off. And I gotta tell you guys, I'm not gonna put them back on. It's just extra weight. When I take those off and the hydro guide system, one of my tires, 1 out of 5, balances out. Essentially, that's the way I like to look at it. I mean, these tires are probably 50, 60 pounds heavier than your stock tire and wheel. So, you know, with these probably weigh about 10 pounds total. The hydro guide maybe 20. So I popped 30 pounds off of one of my big tires that you naturally have to put on the vehicle. Okay, guys. Oh yeah, I showed you the other 8. So you got 1 here, 6 here. Then there's a 10-inch light on my other Jeep. We'll take that off and put it here. And then there'll be 2 more. We'll stick them right here so they don't block my grill marker lights, you know what I'm saying? But it should be no problem. These right here, you're gonna have to use the self-tappers. So not a big deal. And you should be able to get them perfect. You should be able to get them perfect right on the nuts. Same with this bottom light. You're gonna have to use self-tappers to hold it on. Not a big deal. You know, so the majority of the bolts are going to be held on with the hardware from Rigid, which is very difficult to take off. I mean, you wouldn't be able to get them off if I put this piece back on, but we're not going to put that piece back on. I mean, even if someone wants to steal these, they still have to take the nut and bolt off and all, and that takes a little bit longer, and that's usually enough to deter people. But we'll see. Well, I'm not sure if I'm going to put them back on or not. It's just dead weight. It does add, certainly, it does add a lot of strength to this end of the bumper. It certainly does that, for sure. But I think we're going to leave them off. I'm a weight dude. I'm conscientious of weight, and if you can get rid of it, do it. The skid plate, let's keep her. Although, when I take it off, it is a lot of weight. But it does do some serious protection down there. You know, I got a feeling I'm going to throw it out. I mean, you really don't need it. When you're this a stock Jeep that's 5 inches lower, maybe. But a Jeep like this, that's up this high, I think you should just dump it, to be honest with you. And I probably will. I probably, when I do take it off, I'm going to probably say, and you'll see the video of me dropping it into the garbage. Anyways, we just took these off, and it does take 8 bolts to hold them. Trash. Man, that's cool. Oh yeah, we did have, I heard some rubbing back here, and there is some rubbing right here when you hit a bump. I've heard it several times. It's like, what the fuck is that? And I finally came back here and took a look. But see this piece right here? People with 40s, take this off and throw it in that same trash bin over there. It's just a cosmetic piece that they put in here to kind of make the wheel well conform and everything, you know what I'm saying? But you can take it off and just toss it. I'm not gonna do that yet. I'm gonna leave it there, because when I do bring this in for the final torque, they will raise the back of this Jeep up about 1 inch, and it probably won't come into play anymore once they raise it up. I mean, this is going to be up here, essentially 1 inch higher. So in other words, it'll make the springs that much stiffer, and it will not come into play. It will not touch it then. But I may take it off anyways. I know you're thinking, you know, I took off the trim piece behind the bumper there and I threw it out. No, that was just for dramatization, guys. That was strictly for dramatization. We're just gonna stick these right here. But I love doing that dramatization stuff. I know you're thinking, see those, and now you're putting on, these lights are actually pretty heavy, but these lights are very, very functional, so that doesn't come into play with the weight equation. Rigid lights are the bomb. Tyree lights, those are for farmers, not for fucking off-road guys. I mean, they got fucking lights that you can readjust and aim to the side and shit. It's a bunch of bullshit, unless you're a farmer. Do I look like I'm a farmer? No, I'm an off-road dude. Anyways, we're gonna nip this one in the bud, pick up right here tomorrow. I need to go to work tonight and make some money. So what we're going to do is pull the Jeep back in, put the dogs in the backyard. I'm gonna go upstairs and relax. I'm trying to think, what do I got to eat today? Oh, I can make myself a nice chicken sandwich. I got chicken in the fridge. But okay, I'm gonna shut you down, and that's it for this video. Just showing you the 392 Hemi final edition build, and these are off-road lights, and this is the first series of them, and we will have these all set up. The next video will have these all set up and powered up, and I'll show you how to program the the auxiliary lights inside of the cab on the center screen. But man, sweet. You know, there's got to be something. Oh yeah, I'm gonna try not to swear as much. Okay, I notice I've been swearing too much, but there is something kind of crazy about drilling holes in a brand new $140,000 Jeep. But not a big deal. These two, you would have to modify that plastic too to put that back on, because it's going to touch one of the bolts here. I think this one in the middle. You have to cut it a little bit. But like I said, we're not going to do it anyways. We're not going to put them back in. I'm pretty much set on not doing it. Here's all the bolts that hold those suckers on. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. Now, like I said, it does add strength to that bumper. But I mean, if you shellac somebody, it's going to bend anyways. So we're not gonna deal with it. We're gonna just leave it like it is. And that skid plate down there, it does protect the motor that automatically releases the there's a motor right here. It disconnects the pin so that the sway bar is inactive. This bar right here. So you can, I've seen a video where you can twist that motor up or sideways to put it higher if you feel compelled to do so. You know, I don't think it's going to come into play for me, but there is a video where you can move it. And I know one thing too, also, if you do take that skid plate off, there's two tusks that are kind of visible, but it's that skid plate probably weighs 40 pounds, I would say, at least. And it might weigh 50. I will weigh that one for sure. Okay, I'm going to shut you down.